This is KGW News at Sunrise.
But I, hope that we will see a significant number of children get vaccinated in the coming week.
So now that it's fully approved, kids 5 to 11 can line up to get a COVID vaccine shot. But coming up, we'll explain why parents may have a tough time actually getting their kids that shot during the first few weeks of availability.
Plus, we're learning more about a walkout and a brawl at Roseway Heights Middle School in Northeast Portland. Portland Public Schools delayed class by 2 hours yesterday. Now parents are questioning if their kids are really safe there.
And we're also watching the radar because a lot of rain, a lot of wind pushing into the area in a little bit. Rod, why don't you take a look at the timeline?
Yeah, let's get you going with the watch warnings first. And we'll get to the timeline at about 5:08 this morning. We have a high wind warning in red for the coast. That's possible 60, 65 mile per hour winds. Also, maybe some 55 mile per hour winds with a high wind warning in Bend and Madras. The other orange type colors are wind advisories, including from Eugene to Longview. The Dow's out to Pendleton for south winds today, gusting to about 45 miles per hour. Right now, not a lot going on in terms of extreme wind, but we do have a 51 mile per hour wind gust over at the coast of Newport. Pretty quiet currently in downtown Portland. You can see a lot of rain on the radar, so we'll see occasional shots of rain at least into early afternoon. Right now we're at 53. It'll be 58 at noon. And Brenda mentioned the timeline. The worst of the wind today for Portland and Salem, probably between 10 and 1 o'clock. That's the best bet to see a 45 mile per hour wind gust.
All right, we'll be talking more about this all throughout the show. Rod, thank you. Well, kid-sized vaccines are a go in Oregon and Washington for children 5 to 11 years old.
The FDA, the CDC, and the Western States Scientific Safety Review have all found the Pfizer vaccine is both safe and effective for kids in that age group. KGW's Alma McCarty has more on this with doctors from the Oregon Health Authority.
To the north of us in Seattle, dozens of kids got their first dose of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine Wednesday, less than 24 hours after the federal stamp of approval. Back home, expect some initial delay as Oregon providers receive the vaccine shipments in the coming days, but a smoother rollout than it was for adults. OHA estimates there are 330,000 vaccine-eligible children in this age group in the state.
We expect our healthcare system will not be able to accommodate all children who'd like to get vaccinated in the first few days that they become eligible. Families will be able to find appointments or drop-in services in the coming weeks if they're flexible, and check with their primary care provider, nearby pharmacies, and other sources.
Dr. Kristen Dillon with the OHA says they'll have enough doses for the next 4 to 6 weeks statewide and will supplement areas of high demand with incoming doses.
This is a 2-dose series with 3 weeks in between, and you don't get full protection until 2 weeks after. But I, hope that, we will see a significant number of children get vaccinated in the coming week.
Dr. Dean Seidlinger, the state's epidemiologist, tells me he expects many families to head to their pediatrician or primary care provider.
So we anticipate that after this initial rush, that's where the vast majority of vaccines will be given, where you take your child to get care, where you take your child to get a checkup.
Both doctors say that's also a really good place to get any of your lingering questions answered.
Write them down, ask your provider with your next visit, because we want parents to be assured that, no steps were cut in having this vaccine authorized for use in younger children.
The Kaiser Family Foundation has done a great job of tracking this over time. Is about a third of parents are eager to have their children vaccinated right away, they say. About a third of parents are saying they're going to wait and see. And then there are a decent proportion of people who do have a lot of concerns and questions.
Concerns and questions are welcome, but they want to make it clear the vaccines are effective, they're safe, and the kid-sized doses are only a fraction of what is given to adults.
One of the main reasons is to prevent increased side effects in this age group.
Health leaders say many upcoming mass vaccination sites will allow everybody in the family to get their shots or their boosters so you don't have to go to multiple places. To find a vaccination clinic near you, go to getvaccinated.oregon.gov.
Washington County this week became the first county in Oregon to ban flavored tobacco products, and that includes menthol cigarettes and e-cigarettes. We talked to a business owner who said the ban is going to put him out of business. Christopher Ferriera is the owner of Oregon Vape Shop in Hillsboro, and since most of what he sells is flavored tobacco, he fears he's going to have to close up shop when the ban starts next month. Ferriera says he agreed with the initial intention of the ordinance to keep flavored tobacco away from kids, but he says this all-out ban goes too far.
The original language for this ordinance had merit and was correct, but it turned into a gross overstatement at this point.
The American Cancer Society says a ban like this is critical to keeping the products away from kids, adding, quote, data shows that menthol cigarettes and other flavored products like e-cigarettes are intentionally targeted at kids, communities of color, and low socioeconomic groups. All right, staying with the Tuesday election, a new sales tax of sorts in Cannon Beach will be added to your restaurant bill. Voters approved a 5% tax on what they call prepared foods that you will pay at restaurants to fund the Cannon Beach Rural Fire Protection District and to pay for a new city hall and police station. That vote was 52 to 48%, pretty close. A similar vote in Newport, though, was rejected.
A Portland school is dealing with a walkout and a brawl. A lot of parents at Roseway Heights Middle School contacted us here at KGW wondering whether their kids are even safe on campus anymore. Mike Benner dug into what happened this week and has more.
As kids arrived at Roseway Heights Middle School for a delayed start Wednesday, there was a visible staff presence outside. Some parents wonder if it's enough.
So it's hard to feel confident and safe sending your kid to school, not knowing what's being done, but only hearing reports that the violence is escalating.
Parent Sally Stauffer is referring to what happened at the school Tuesday. Through a letter from the school, KGW has learned of a walkout in response to sexual harassment incidents among students. We're told fights then broke out, or as parents call it, a riot.
There were kids being chased by mobs of other students and being hit. My daughter got to witness that firsthand. There's a lot of racism going on. There were fights inside of the school. There were fights outside of the school.
School officials say one student suffered what's described as a medical emergency. They were checked out by medics and ultimately stayed at school, but still.
It made me nervous though. Yeah, it made me nervous and have my kid go to school here.
I'm not happy about it at all. There's just not a lot I can do because it's the way the schools are run, basically.
The Portland Police Bureau was alerted to Tuesday's incident, but all they did was stage officers nearby in case of an emergency. They say they're not invited on campus. An administrator for the district says that's not the case at all. If a school or district official thought assistance or a police presence was necessary, they would have asked for it.
So I'm not really sure. I can't really speak about what that looks like.
What Sally Stauffer can speak to are the safe spaces the school set up for students to process what happened. There's one for students of color and one for other students. While Stauffer hopes it leads to change, she believes even more needs to happen.
And I think we need some restorative justice measures being taken. I hear that's in the works. They need to fully staff this school. We've got a lot of different things happening and not a lot of adult support.
In Northeast Portland, Mike Benner for KGW News.
Our next stop on the Sunrise Show this morning is the Interstate Bridge, which we know has been around for more than a century. In fact, the first span of the bridge was built back in 1917. There have been many plans over the years to replace it, but until that actually happens, the question is, how do crews keep the old bridge going? Well, KGW got an exclusive tour all the way to the top of the Interstate Bridge to see how exactly it's maintained. One thing we learned, there's a lot of grease involved. Grease is needed to lube these 6.5 miles of cables that lift the span. But regular maintenance these days also includes cameras and electronic sensors that make operations more efficient.
Then we started getting into these more technical capabilities to be able to having one operator, and so right now we've got one bridge tender running the functions of what used to take 3 people.
A 9-person crew works full-time to maintain the Interstate Bridge at a cost of more than $1 million a year. The details behind another set of potential replacement plans for the bridge are due out in January.
I had no idea. Okay, let's go live out to the Gresham area. Photographer Eric for us at a very visual spot there in the Rockwood neighborhood and along the Max lines there on Burnside. Wow. Yeah, I love those lights out in that neighborhood. It is a wet one, folks, out there, but Rod has been saying the wind is going to be more of an issue than the rain today.
Yeah, certainly more of an unusual issue. And by the way, east winds out near the gorge, Gresham to Troutdale, there have been some gusts up into the 30-plus mile-per-hour range this morning. But the south winds coming up the heart of the valley haven't really developed yet. And you folks out near the gorge in East Multnomah County will be seeing those easterlies turn to the south during the day. So earlier in the show, we showed you everything in red is a wind warning. That means maybe your south winds pop to above 50 today. Everything in the tan orange colors means your south wind gust at most will reach more like 40 to 45 miles per hour. So for Salem, a wind advisory starts at 8 o'clock this morning. The absolute latest you could have any wind concerns would be 3 o'clock this afternoon. Portland, the advisory starts at 9, an hour later. Again, mid-afternoon at the latest for wind concerns today. At the coast, I think any 60 to 65 mile per hour winds will be well over by noon. And the Dalles, good morning, Wasco County. You have a wind advisory today that starts at 11 o'clock for the potential of south winds gusting to 45. So our Futurecast model, 5:30 this morning, Newport, there you go, 51 mile per hour winds. So far, that's the only concern area. Then we get into 7:30 this morning. Now Salem starting to pop to about 34. There was a 40 mile per hour wind gust the model showed at about 10:30 this morning. 11 a.m. Portland starting to see the winds noticeably pick up to maybe 30. This never gets Portland up to 40, and by 3 o'clock this afternoon, the wind threat for all areas on the west side pretty much gone. Still breezy, but nothing of any concerns. That's kind of the timeline today. Rain at times. Right now it's pretty quiet, but a heftier batch of rain is over in Tillamook. The main front has to come through, so that'll throw rain at times our way, mainly this morning. Here's a heavy rain shot at noon, and then by 4:30 it's more breaking just into scattered showers, and the winds will be calming at that time too. 58 the high. Tomorrow rain picks back up during the day, but no wind. Saturday looks wetter than Sunday. Tuesday could be another day with a wind advisory potentially. That's your forecast.
All right, Rod, lots to talk about this morning. Thank you. The resorts also gearing up for something. Ski season. There's only one problem this year, a lack of workers. How that shortage has made its way up to Mount Hood. Plus, doctors are encouraging everyone to get their flu shot. But now a viral tweet claims there are fewer flu strains thanks to the pandemic. We'll verify that after the break.